All right, superheroes, it's time to talk about supercharging your profitability. Yes, this time we are going to talk about how to increase your profitability by budgeting. Yay! I know you're not cheering with me. This is one of those topics when you talk about finances and budgeting that I notice a lot of people sort of sink in their chair. I've literally seen people sink and try and hide from me when I talk about finance and looking at budgets and looking at your financials. I think part of where they get scared is you feel like you have to be an accountant or you have to do math. And even though I am an inactive CPA, I still have a little bit of that love for the finance side. I want to come to you today as the COO, not the CFO. So as a COO, I want you to look at budgeting and looking at your finances as it relates to budgeting as a tool for ensuring you're hitting your profitability goals. My guess is you are excited about having a profitability margin, the amount of money that you want to have as profit at the end of the year. And one of the key things is to make sure that you keep your expenses in line and your revenue hitting the goals that you need to hit in order to get there. And so if you really back up and think about it, this is from an operational point of view, having revenue and having expenses being controlled isn't a finance thing as much as it's an operational decision. And that's why I like to look at this is don't look at it as like I have to know accounting. In fact, I encourage you not to look at it as an accountant or a bookkeeper. Have your accountants or bookkeepers give you the information, but look at it from a strategic decision point of view. What do I need to be spending my money on or not spending my money on in order to hit the profitability amount or like I said, gross profit that I'm looking for? So when you're looking at revenues, which a lot of us do, that might be a little bit easier to plan out and to figure out what is it that I need to do to hit my revenues, the marketing tactics, sales, conversion, increase. But in terms of expenses, one of the tricks that you can do is work on looking at the expenses, kind of doing what I call an expense audit, essentially, taking a look at each expense and seeing what is it that I'm spending this money on and looking at it from an operational lens. Should I be spending money on this? Am I getting the return from this? Most of, especially in the professional service field, most of our money is in our people, which is a whole nother topic, but we're talking about those other expenses. I find that there's a certain few expenses that if you really look into them, people are not often actually getting a return or realizing how much they're spending. One of them is marketing, especially if you do outsource, and another one is subscriptions. So take a look at those, if nothing else, and just ask yourself, again, from an operational point of view, am I getting the return on this? Are we even, especially in subscriptions, are we even using this software? Are we using this tool? Is everybody who's on the subscription actually still at the firm that we're at? Those are the operational audit decisions I want you to look at as you're looking at it. And when it comes to your budget, do that look before you make your budget, because then you'll be able to put in what is the actual amount that this should be to get me the return that I want, but also based on our operational needs and the way we're running our firm. If we have X amount of team members and it's a subscription by user, then you should be able to figure out how much should that be. So I hope that taking a look at your budget as a way for you to be a much more savvy and sound business acumen to be able to make those decisions better and more confident towards your profitability. I hope that helps you to see what is it that I could start to do and why it's so important. I do have some not so great stories of people not paying attention, owners, leaders not paying attention to their finances, comparing that to your budget, and way overspending to a point they had no idea it gets out of control. I've got a client who is spending a ton of money getting an outside company to make their blogs, and then when I went to look at their website, I didn't even see the blogs posted. So there's a disconnect, and to me that's an operational thing, not a finance thing, because your accountant's never going to find those things. It's you looking at it with a lens of, is this something we're strategically doing, operationally implementing or not? I hope that helps you as you look towards what you're spending your money on and how to be smarter about that. and your profitability increases because of that awareness, and you looking at these numbers as a way to give you confidence in your decisions instead of shrinking and fearing the scariness of math. Trust me, this is numbers that are giving you feedback, not numbers that you have to figure out how to do accounting. If you have that view of it, I think you'll find a little bit more empowerment. At least I hope you do, because I find the numbers telling me the story of the operations is a much more empowering way to make decisions, and I hope you do too.